Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? Hey, it's a stream. What is up? What is up? What is up? Trying all kinds of new stuff today. So we'll see what happens. I'm multi-streaming today, so I'm on Twitch, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube. So wherever you see me, you know. But we got the multi-chat up. Should all be popping up on the screen. I think we should be all working out. So if you want to see what people are saying on other platforms, James Shoop talking from Facebook over there. Brandon Beans is here. How's it going, guys? Good to see you. Good to see you indeed. Let's go back through the chat and see who's been here. Callie was here early. Let's see. How's it going, Callie? Joseph? I still don't know actually how to say that. Sonic Tonic. CH3FPV. AFGG. Dave Pencilgwin. Captain Sinep. Ripper FPV. Rick M. Hello from Callie. Hello from Colorado. Always hath been. How is everyone? I hope everyone's doing great. Travis Stevens, thanks for letting me know the audio sounds good. Brandon Beans is here. James Shoop that we talked about earlier. James Shoop here. Dave Pencilglen. Rob Schlitt. All right. We got Joe McKimmon over on the Facebook. Good stuff. Good stuff. Henry does what Henry wants. He just hangs out and wanders and annoys me if he feels like it. Henry! You come say hi so people on stream can see? Hey, look up here. Hi. Okay, nope. That's what you get. That's the Henry you get for now. Maybe he'll get tired and fall asleep. Travis Stevens is here. How's it going? Chris Mel, yep. All right. So what's been going on with FPV? Henry is part pit. Yes, he is German Shepherd, Pit Bull, Boxer, and Mutt, I think. They just sold out of those, Brandon. Brandon's talking about the DJI goggles. V2 were on sale today, and I think early yesterday on Banggood for $409. But they did have a limited stock, so I've been keeping an eye on that. Earlier it was like 14, it dropped to 8, and then they actually took it down earlier. So now it's gone. The U.S. warehouse is out of stock. So if you got those goggles for $409, it sounds like that's a good time. I don't think it. I think there's so few. I can't imagine it was a loss leader because it wasn't all the stores, right? Or even like selling at cost. Like it was only Banggood. It was only like 20 or 30 units. So it seems a little odd to me that that would happen. Yeah, Rob mentions that there was a previous sale for $409 back in the day, and that was Father's Day 2020, which was the other sale we've had. But that was the V1 goggles back when those were the only thing around. So this is the only other time we've seen that. However, the Father's Day sale was all the retailers, so everybody got the deal. There were days and days of them. And yeah, it went on for quite a while. So no, I think you could just buy just the goggles for $409. I'm almost positive that was the case because I remember that number in my head. There was a cheaper deal, like you could also get discount air units if you got them with air units. And yeah, there was no Father's Day sale this year, so yeah, it was only last year. But that's the only other sale we've ever had on DJI, but that was an official one. This was clearly like a small vendor stock or DJI just trying to get rid of stuff, or I don't know, it wasn't clear. But it is odd that only Banggood had these, and it's already over because they just had limited stock. So hard to know exactly what happened. Travis Stevens says, "I know this was an FPV chat, but did anyone catch Facebook Connect? We could only cram that tech in FPV goggles. Thankfully, Facebook can afford it. I've seen a little bit about it, yeah, but not too much. That's interesting, Brad. I did not see that sale, but yeah. Otherwise, Banggood has been more expensive than most other places. It's kind of unfortunate. I don't know what's going on with them and why they suddenly did a sale that's like, better than everywhere else. But it's a little weird because, like, if you look at where they're at now, the DJI goggles are back up to their crazy high price. So it's $639 versus everyone else has them at $569. So now suddenly Banggood went from being the discount to selling them for more than everybody. I don't understand it. Joseph, thanks for saying that. Joseph, you got to tell me. What do I say? We'll just call you Joe. All right, Joe it is. Joe D in the chat. Joe McKim on Facebook asks, is anyone flying Betaflight 4.3? I have 2 quads on. No, just one. I think I just have 1 quad currently on 4.3. But yeah, it runs pretty well. It's kind of dependent on what you're trying to do, but you definitely want to look up some stuff about the tuning. There's a lot of sliders if you choose them, or there's a missing slider if you don't choose expert mode. So probably want to take a look at the new filter strategies and why you're going to choose the things you choose. But there are definitely quite a few people on 4.3. Unfortunately, all the SPI boards for Express LRS are coming on 4.3, in addition to other boards that need to support that new Barrow, the DSP Barrow. But yeah, it's definitely great. You just want to find somebody who knows how to tune it. Sugar K has a karate tune that's really good. And there's some other tunes around there, but you definitely just want to know how to handle those filters. So hop in somewhere that can help you with that. If you get at me on the Discord after this, I can definitely help you with that as well. There should be a link to the Discord in the description of this video. Yeah, if you're running karate, then you're good to go. Though I think it's constantly changing, so make sure you're in touch with Sugar K on that karate deal. All J Rice's racers are on 4.3. Awesome. Good to hear. Ram Donko's here. How's it going, Ram? James Shoop asking about the strain. I am still smoking jet fuel and ghost dog. I'm almost out. It's about time to go re-up. I think I got a day, maybe 2 left before we do that. And then it'll be whatever they got. Edoc says I left at the wrong time. Yeah, I just did. I couldn't hang out, so had to go. Qualified 4th in the Weebly pop-up race, but then I had to bail out before the main, so. And then I advertise it on. I advertised the Weebly pop-up race on the news, mention it to Jeff, and then he's like, "All right, it's canceled. We're doing a different race on a different day now." It's like, okay, man, cool. Brandon says I need to put it on something else. That 4.3 ELRS AIO board. Okay, I see. You need to install 4.3 on something else to experiment with new stuff. Yeah. Yeah, new motor setup in 4.3 is excellent. Super handy. Hey, Papa Gamers here. How's it going, Papa? Glad to see you by the channel. 509 FPV is here. Just got some wrecking ball and sour diesel concentrate. Awesome. Yeah, Edoc. He just could have mentioned it. That's all. It would have been cool to know that before I advertised the thing that's not happening, but it's all good. Hopefully people can figure it out. 4.3 will be good for everything. I mean, 4.3 will be a benefit for everything with better filter strategies and general improvements. So that's kind of up to you when you want to upgrade. I would probably wait until at least a release candidate if you don't have a reason. It's kind of a, there's a whole thing. You got to use nightlies right now. So Captain Sinap asked about how many watts the DJI Air unit needs at 1200 milliwatt transmission power. I believe it's like 14 watts. I know that the typical thing, the suggestion is you need at least like a 10 volt 2 amp or 9 volt 2.5 amp, I think, or 9 volt 2 amp. Like you want 18 watts, which is a 9 volt 2 amp. But I remember Bardwell telling me, I think he said his 10 volt 1.5 amp or his 9 volt 1.5 amp was not enough. So I would probably make sure you have like 14 watts, if not more than that. Like give it a little headroom, because when those BECs get hot, those little BECs, if you're pulling them the whole time, you ask, can it be more when the signal gets weaker? Probably not, but I would bet. I mean, it might be a little bit of that, but I would bet there's also something going on where that Beck is getting hotter that you're powering on off of. Johnny Five says, Night Spot last night asked about preset tunes. Slyman told us when devs finish, we started complaining about the wait. Then he admitted the main dev for presets. He was the main dev for presets. Yeah, I mean presets are kind of done. I think it's just everything else. From what I was seeing, at least the general preset start is in there. It's in 4.3 now. Dave says he's got a Vista running on 8 volt 1.5 amp and it runs fine. So it might be about the quality of the BEC too. Because I know Bardwell said the BEC that he has on his JBF4 is not appropriate, and I think that's a 1.5 amp. It's either 10 or 9. I should just look that up. JBF4. It is. It's a 1.2 amp 9 volt. That's why. That's why. So like, yeah, you're right on the edge there. I would shoot for 14 to 15 watts at least. One Eye says, I'm getting subtle Jello with Shark Bite on Floss 3. I increased my PD and seem to improve. How else can I address the Jello? Make sure it's not camera Jello. So if you can get a prop in frame or the frame in frame, you want to confirm that that's not, the Jello is not coming from the camera. But I would guess the next thing is filtering. Yes, definitely. You want to log the gyro if you can. That's the best thing. If you can log the gyro and check and see like how much filtering you're getting through, like what's getting through there on one of those flights where you see that Jello, like you look for the Jello in the log at the time. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Rick M with $5. Thanks a lot. Yeah, just in case you don't know, you want to log gyro scaled as the debug mode, and then pull that log afterwards. Do like a 2 or 3 minute flight where you're not like inducing prop wash unless you need to. Like, so you're not like falling in your own wash. You're only doing like turn wash, and just like giving it a general flight tuning flight, and then kind of go from there, and see what that log is showing you. But yes, you should be able to move filters up, I would imagine, and that should help. You just want to know where that Jello is coming from, so I'd probably log it and see. Joseph, thanks for the $5. Thanks so much, man. You are the champ in these streets. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Right. Alerts are working. I mean, this is so far so good. Everything's working out. I think I can see all the chat. I think it's looking good. Kyle says, I'm new to Betaflight 4.3. Where can I find the presets? I believe it's all done through the CLI. But the best way to do that is either get on like a Discord with somebody with the devs or look up the documentation that they have available. I can see what's up, but I don't actually know what they have available. Yeah, I don't know that it's all noted yet. I think it's probably just NPRs and stuff, so I'm not seeing that offhand. Like, so if you want documentation for how to do it, you'll have to dig through PRs. And I saw the early version of it like 4 months ago, so I know they've been working on it. Let's see. Captain Synap, if you're 9 volt 2.5 amp, then something else is wrong. It has nothing, it's not power. Oh, thanks, Zim FPV, for the tip. $25. Holy Jesus. Thank you so much, man. That is, I cannot say enough how much I appreciate that. Got some Twitch viewers over here. How's it going, Betterito? All right, let's try to catch up on chat. And then I'll try to dig for that PR so we can look at presets. I've got that in the list of things to look at. So let's real quick bust through these. Johnny Five reminds you to give a like if you're watching. That would be much appreciated. On whichever platform you're on, do some kind of interaction over there. Lincoln just built a baby tooth with the new Express LRS AIO. That's awesome. Good to hear. So unfortunately, you have to use 4.3, but it does seem to be working out pretty well. Let's see. If you need a stock Free Sky radio antenna, if you mean for the radio, then you probably just want to go buy a cheap one on Amazon. That's definitely the easier way to do things. Let's see. I'm trying to think of like the best cheap antenna. Somebody help me with that. I mean, other than just like a, what do you call them, the stubby linears that you get with them anyway. Like I have a kind of like 4 or 5 of those just hanging out. But I'd probably go on Amazon and just order like a 2.4 gig, stubby antenna. You could probably even use an extra one off of if you have a 2.4 gig Wi-Fi. You could use that antenna. Otherwise, you'll want to pull like buy one off of Amazon or get FPV when you order. I'm sure they have extras. But yeah, I'm not sure offhand what I would buy, like if I was buying, like what's cheap, because I don't know what the cost of those are. Guillermo's here. How's it going, Guillermo? Been a minute. Been a minute. Dodgy Damos FPV is here. How's it going? Good to see you. Johnny Five says PM Lyman directly for help with 4.3 presets. It's probably easier that way. Probably easier. Brandon says you need to submit your preset as a PR. Yeah, it's a little finicky right now, I believe. But he doesn't know if they've implemented any. Okay. I saw an early build with testing where they had, but maybe that was just a preview to show people for testing. Brandon's out here. Good to see you, Brandon. Thanks for hanging out. All right. We caught up with chat, so that's nice. Let's try to hop on over here. Okay, is that right? Don't ask me again. Cancel. Okay. Okay, we talked about that. So let us look for what 2.4 gig antennas Get FPV has. Just help you out here. MP FPV's here. How's it going, MP? Good to see you. Why is this not loading? Out here on 1 gig fiber, and I can't even load Get FPV's website. FPV equipment, antennas. Wow. Is it SMA or RPS? SMA for most. Okay. So yeah, if you're looking for one for a TX, let's see. They do not have much here. This is why I was like, just go to Amazon. You could use a shapeshifter, but the shape here is going to be different. So you need to be aware of where you're pointing your radio. It's kind of why I was just like, you should just probably get a standard one. I mean, you could use also like a Happy Model TX antenna or something, but let's go to Amazon. I always forget the name of them, but these things. These are just like the super basic ones that come on every TX when you buy it. Like you could get, you're getting 2 for $7 and they come whenever. So something like that is what you probably want if you're going really cheap. If you're not, then I would probably look for a little better linear antenna on either Amazon or some other site. Get FPV has some shitty options. So I don't know. This T will be fine. You just gotta make sure you're pointing. Yeah, you can use a P as a penetrator. That's what I have on my DIY 2.4 Express LRS radio. Robert says, which cheap VTXs should we steer away from? To be honest, I have no clue. I don't have any in my head that are like terrible offhand. Like I think even the AKKs are a good option for cheap power. But yeah, I don't know. Ram Junko, you have to reach out to Bardwell about that. Lemon C FPVs here. How's it going? Yeah, I mean, I just do so much digital now. I have no idea what cheap VTXs I would not use. I just don't use very many analog VTXs. Popper Gamer says, can I use a switch to disable my GPS? Do you mean to actually turn the GPS off or to change the function of the FC? If you mean to switch the GPS off, then you would need to have a pit switch on your board, so as a feature of the board, and then you would need to power it off the pit switch power, or you would need to buy like a real pit and then power it off pin IO, or use pin IO to power and then or to control, and then switch it with pin IO. If you just want to change the GPS functionality, then yes, you should be able to change that with expert settings in Betaflight. Yeah, Lemon Tea, not a lot of people use single 32-bit ESCs anymore. So, or single ESCs at all, to be honest. I have a build with them and I have a box of them, but they're just not as common anymore. Casey McClintock over on Facebook. How's it going, Casey? Good to see you. Good to see you. Callie says, how do you like those headphones? These are the non-noise canceling version. And I've never tried the mic. But yeah, they're good headphones. I mean, they seem fine. I just wanted good Bluetooth headphones. That was the big thing for me. So I was just going for music. So, and I don't care about the noise canceling hurts my ears, like really bad, like gives me a lot of pain. So I just do the standard noise music stuff. Oh, so they're like the cheaper version. Can't remember what the difference is in the model, but yeah, MP. Drain Man FPV seems to have done a decent amount of that, throwing a bunch of current through an ESC. That can always be fun. Casey says, "What's your favorite prop size to fly?" 3-inch toothpick or 5-inch freestyle drone. That would be my thing. I think on 3-inch, like a toothpick, super light is a ton of fun to throw around. On 5-inch, I like a heavier, not super heavy, but I like quite a bit heavier, like lower power, and then let the prop disc size of the 5-inch carry you. Like I fly, weirdly, a lot of people don't, but I do. I fly 6S KV on 4S motors. Somebody told me Slat or 6S KV on 4S batteries. Somebody told me Slat does that for flow, which is cool. But yeah, that's how I've typically flown for a long time. So I just like it. He's getting me inspired by an MCK track run on Velocidrone. Yeah, I will hop back on there and try to catch up. I'm doing all right, but I'm definitely way behind MP. Oh, you can definitely light a 35 amp PSC on fire. You can light all kinds of VSCs on fire. No doubt, no doubt. 509 says, "That's my favorite setup too. Awesome throttle control down low." Yeah, I found that when I fly 6S on 6S or 4S on 4S, which I don't really have, I don't do much 6S, but when I fly like 4S KV on 4S, I'm just not using the top half of the throttle. And so it's like, why am I, what's the point? So I just got rid of it. Isaac Mitchell's here. How's it going? Ram Donko has been watching Squid Game. It's okay. That's kind of how I felt about it too. It's okay. It's about right. Casey McClintock says it's interesting. Some pilots are faster in a course with a 3-inch because of power to weight. Yeah, I know that something Empy was actually saying, and something I find as well, is if I fly a like objectively like slower quad, like fatter or less maneuverable, sometimes it'll make it easier for me to fly. Um, or I'll be better at like not freaking out and jumping all over the place. Like in Velocidrone flying the TBS spec versus like the switchback, you can kind of get a little more precision with the spec if you don't have as much precision with your sticks. But yeah. Yeah, One Ice is on my build 6S. I rarely ever use more than 60% throttle. And so I'm pulling out of a dive a snap turn to correct course. Yeah, so that's the thing you learn when you fly 4S battery on 6S motor, is you really got to learn to correct early and know where you're going. And it's helped me to become a better pilot when I fly. Ramdonka says, "When I roll, pitch, and yaw, it's slow. Is that rates?" Yes. Unless your motors are capped into 100, which they're probably not. So, yes, if you're not hitting the roll, pitch, or yaw rate that you've put in, then you want to go up. Or rather, if you didn't put in a high enough one, you want to go up on it. Papa Gamer says, "Is there any issue flying 4S on 6S KV?" No, it's just underpowered. It's just, it's like it's a low KV, so. But I love it. Edoc says, "I found I can use a throttle limit to get my fast 5-inch on Velocidrone to fly like the spec, and then slowly creep it up until I'm flying full speed." Yeah, I understand that for sure. I've done that with whoops sometimes where I'll fly like the B-Brain, but I'll do the camera angle like lower, and then I'll work my camera angle up as I get used to the track, so I'm like kind of flying faster automatically. Isaac says, "I can't help it. I love to punch out." Hey, man, I get it. I get it. Oh yeah, if you're on stock settings RAM, so that would be 666, I think, or something like that. 667 is stock beta flight rates, whatever it is, in every direction. So that would mean that you should rotate about 2 times a second in each axis on default settings. A little under that, but. MP says, yeah, flow is so underestimated in terms of flying skill. Just keeping a line going and hitting gaps smoothly gets pretty intense. Absolutely. Yeah, the connecting the pieces I have found is important in both the racing side and the freestyle side. You know, there's a large gap, or there's a large Venn diagram cross there with like skills where like you need to learn to think about things as a system and see what's coming up and like flow smoothly through everything to maintain both angle and also like momentum. And it seems like it's very much like that is shared a lot between the two things. I guess it's also dependent on what kind of freestyle you do. But yeah. One Eye says, when I get a flow going smoothly hitting gaps and gates, I start to tense up, like physically. Yeah, that to me is like you gotta burn the adrenaline out. You know, you keep doing it, and then you get those adrenaline spikes, and then you kind of run out, or at least I do eventually. Amelius, I've never had an issue with GNB batteries, and I've never heard anyone tell me anything like that. So I would contact where you bought them from, and then see what their response is. That sounds more like gold line to me. Yeah, Ram says F1 drivers take wider racing lanes to keep top speeds. Yeah, I could see that for sure. That kind of goes into. Do you guys know about Brachistochrone curves? There's a good Veritasium video on that.
Let's go help people.
Let's see. But I believe that's the principle that you use. It's a Brachistochrone curve. No things. How am I? I am doing good. How about you? Let's try not to get flagged by Veritasium. I'm just going to skip to the part that's important. Okay, here we go. So we won't play it. We'll just look at it. So you can see here, right, you've got 3 curves. So you've got a straight line, and they're rolling stuff down these hills here. So you've got a straight line, you've got a curved line here, and you've got a heavily curved line here, okay? Now the question is, which one will make it first? Right? Which will make it to the end the first, right? Which is fastest? And some will say, oh, the fastest drop will push it, and some will say this line will make it go faster. But it turns out it's the middle is the best. This is called a Brachistochrone curve, and you develop it, by going through and drawing a curve with a circle to generate the curve. Basically, there's some math to generate it, but it's essentially you get enough momentum, but you carry the momentum because of the way the curve works out that this one is the fastest, and it's sort of a so yeah, you can see there it's quite fast, but you can see there that it makes it through. So that's the idea, is that you want to have a Brachistochrone curve, and I would guess it's a very similar thing for maintaining momentum around a track. Because if you go too far, then you get a bunch of momentum going this way, but then you have to pull it off as you go this direction. Brachistochrone curve isn't just based on gravity. This is just an example. Brachistochrone curve works in a lot of different cases. And the other interesting thing is take a look at this setup. Let's see if we can get it here on camera. So if you take a look at this setup, basically, if you drop no matter where in this curve, because of how the curve works, no matter where you start the circle, they will all end at the same time. They'll all hit the end at the same time of the curve. Other than friction, but there's friction here because of the way they build it. Just another factor of the way Brachistochrone curves work is that as it comes down, there's another word for it he uses, but essentially as it comes down, the momentum at any point, like, it builds and adds and subtracts, and they'll all hit the end at the same time. So it's fancy. Anyway, watch this Vsauce video about Brachistochrone if you'd like to know more about it. Actually, I think a good video is see if we can find this one. Yeah, here we go. Of course, there's an ad. That's how this always goes. So let's get through that. Forgot to put ad block on this. Yeah, you're maintaining speed. That's my understanding. Is that essentially you're maintaining that momentum or maintaining that speed because of the way the curve pulls off energy. If I can find a good. Here we go. So it turns out Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 also models this properly. And you can see here where you can basically work out where the Brachistochrone curve is by when these all make it to the end. So you see there's a distribution here where the center, the blue and black, make it first. And that's because that's the Brachistochrone curve. Pretty cool. Interesting stuff. This happens to be something I've saw a bunch of lately. Papa Gamer says vectors. Yeah, I don't know enough to know if that's true. Right. Isaac says he learned about that in driving school. That's interesting. Oh, driving school. Yeah. I bet I've never gone to driving school. My dad did that a lot. It's been any chat over here. Nothing says any idea why one can't rearm a quad after crash. Arm angle is set to 180. Smacking before first arm doesn't affect it. So if you rearm normally, you don't have a problem, but only if you rearm after a crash, you have a problem? Could be like a bad gyro or something going bad, so it like can't get the recalibration when you try to rearm. Like you said, smacking before first arm doesn't affect it, but smacking's a lot different than like a quad hitting the ground. Let's think about that. Well, I'm assuming you're not on digital or you're not on analog. Okay. And the only thing I know to really like troubleshoot that directly, other than like looking for other signs, well, on SharkBite, yeah, just put the warnings element on. You should have a warning in the warning spot in your OSD. SharkBite has canvas mode now, so put the warnings element on, and then see what the warning is in the OSD. Should tell you why it's not arming. Then something's lost power or something else is going on. Because the warnings element will tell you why you're not arming. That's what it's there for. Compost piles here. How's it going? Dave Pencilglin, can you recommend anything for DJI indoor? No. I wouldn't fly anything DJI indoor. I mean, there are small 75 millimeter, 65 millimeter, 85 millimeter builds. You know, you could put a Naked Vista and that Polar Nano in there, but hey, thanks for the subscription there. Arinbjorn cooled. Arinbjorn L cool. I've never even seen anything close to that name before. Aaron Bajorn. Interesting. Yeah, I would. The Baby Shark is way too heavy for me. Like way too heavy. I would. No, yeah, I don't know. Like all that stuff's way too heavy, man. I'm flying a 65 millimeter whoop inside. That's what I'm flying inside. This is crazy town. I don't know. I just can't do it. Well, MP followed over on Twitch. That's always appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, there some people will fly stuff indoors and it's DJI, but like my recommendation is just find the lightest thing you can find. I'm not interested. Just not interested. Andy Taylor's here. How's it going? Hey, thanks for your support there, Aaron Bajorn. Much appreciated. Yeah, Meat says lots of speed and inertia indoors is just a recipe for breaking shit. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you cannot fly outside, if there's some reason you cannot fly outside of your house, like I don't know that anybody who lives somewhere that they can't fly outside of their house. Like even if you live in a triplex or like a apartment complex, you can fly outside of your house. Like if you cannot do that anyway, then I guess buy this lightest DJI thing for indoors. But I still fly analog just so I can fly something indoors because it's not worth it for me to put something on digital to fly indoors. It's just like I mean maybe you have a giant house, maybe for like rolling with that mansion money, you know, you got 3,000 square feet and you got a giant opening, or you got like 3 stories to drop, and maybe there's stuff like that. Hey, pencil Glen, conform a coat and send it, bud. Do it. I love that. I'm a big fan of flying in the rain. It's a lot of fun. It's a little annoying to get the water drops, but you can kind of. I guess it depends on the lens, but you can get them off there. Use the glass lens and use some Rain-X. That's probably going to get a little bit fuzzy, but compost pile. No, brushless motors are waterproof. You can run a brushless motor underwater, so no big deal. Ram Donko, very positive. Indeed. Fly, fly, fly. 509 says 2,800 square feet is enough. Yeah, that's a lot of square feet. This house is like 700 or 800. Apache Smoke Wounded Cypress here. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Welcome back to the channel. Is the Magnum F4 from Emax conformal coated? I'm not sure, but even if it is, I wouldn't trust it. I would recode it myself. Papa Gamer says 2203.5 on the Diatone Roma 35. Does that make any sense? The motors are from my Protec 35. I mean, that's big ass motors, but what are we looking at here? I mean, yeah, you can get away with it. They're shipping these Romas with 22035s anyway. So yes. Oh, is that what you're at? Wait, I'm confused. I don't know what that question means. I thought you were saying, do you want to use the motors from your Protec 35 on the Diatone Roma 35? But I don't understand the question now. Are you asking if that makes sense that they put those on there? And my answer to that is I have no fucking clue what's happening with motors right now. I have no fucking clue. I don't know. I don't get any of it. I don't get any of it. Like I get people want to pick numbers and shit, but we're rolling dice. I don't know. I don't get any of it. Aaron Majoran asks about sub 250 5-inch. No, sub 250 to put an air unit in. No, don't do that. Air unit compatible frames. I got a bunch of heavy ass frames, but nothing that's going to be 250. Yeah, nothing that's going to be anywhere near. I mean, I run a Skyliner. My air unit's in a Skyliner, and that shit's heavy as hell, but it's a great frame. It's like 550 or 600 or some crap. Henry is hanging out. Oh, look at you mention him and then he shows up. Look who's here. Hi. Hello. He's arrived. Get a good angle. Oh, there's a cute boy. Decided to hang out. All right, let's see. Crabtree says you can run brush motors underwater too. Interesting. Never tried that. One Eye says I can fly in the rain as long as I cover the electronics. Absolutely, you can. But you need to like cover, like actually conformal coat. Eric says, other than the USB connectors, or anything I should avoid conformal coating? The barometer, the USB plug, the ESC plug, like any plugs, you want to plug those in and then coat, and then like let it tack up a little bit and then unplug them. You don't want to get them locked in there unless you never want to change it again. Probably the best thing to do is like let the conformal get tacky as it dries, and then pull it right as it tacks up. So it won't drip down into the pins and block anything, but it also won't lock your connector in there. I've broken a couple connectors pulling them out. But yeah, you just want to make sure you're coating everything but like those connector connections and the barometer. Well, that should be it. Should be fine to coat the gyro and everything just because it's all together in one piece. So Patchy Smoke says, thanks for helping me out yesterday. No problem. Not sure which I did, but people have different names across, so I'm happy to help. Andy Taylor just replaced that Mamba stack with a shitty gyro. Could not get the FC to chat with the ESC. Interesting. Sounds like two problems. Ramdonka says, GEP RC35 looks like the new appeal, but to carry what? Let's see. You mean like carry what kind of what kind of action cam? I would say probably like, I mean, certainly a go-to, but I don't know. I wouldn't put any large GoPro in there. Definitely naked GoPros. Session, you could put a session on there. That new Action 2, if you were like, felt like a reason to do that, could do that. What? Okay, let's see. Protect 35 motors. Yeah, so the Protect ships with those same motors as the Rumba 35 does. So you're good to go there. Good to go there. Amelia says, I'm about to go to build a Gepard C35 with Vista and 2004s to carry only a Vista cam. Gotcha. MP says, damn, you guys got to buy the CL1 VS if you can. You lucky NA guys. Yeah, Source 1 V3 is my go-to basher. Like if I bought like 10 frames, they'd be Source 1 V3 still. It's a great frame. Pacific Northwest, how's it going? Yes, giant frame, assuming you mean the Skyliner. It's a big boy. Meek says, are Thursday live streams a regular thing? Probably. Just because, yes, probably. Nobody wants to watch me play video games, which I understand. So I'll probably do like one of these kind of streams and maybe like a game stream sometime. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're playing it by ear. But I do want to set up a schedule so you guys know when I'll be here. That's my plan. CH3 FPV says the new Action 2, it's a crap. Yeah, man, it seems like people are 50-50 on that camera, and I want to see more footage and more people fly it and see what exactly is going to happen. Mario Jenkins is here. How's it going, Mario? Good to see you. Market Zero says snowstorm Thursdays. We do have a snowstorm coming here. It's not a big one. It's like the first snow of the year. First real snow. Monday we have a snow, but it's going to be not much. If we do have a blizzard again, I will definitely do a blizzard stream. Neek FPV, it should be standard, so it should be the same as always. Best Buy deal, because Best Buy does the same. You can buy it for most stuff. So, I believe I saw on their website you buy their replacement program the same way you would. So you either do Best Buy, or if you're not in the U.S., you would do the DJI plan. The DJI plan is like I think 60 or 80 for a replacement, and then you pay for DJI Care, which is like $50 a year or something. But you only get 3 over the 3 years. I think that's right. I think you get DJI Care for 2 years, and then you get 2 replacements, and then you extend it a year, and that gives you 1 more replacement, and that's the lifetime of the device. Best Buy is just keep swapping. I think it's 2 a year. You might can do more than 2 a year, but I think it's just 2 a year with Best Buy. But I mean, worst case, you wait a few months and then go swap it. I'm sure that thing's going to break like crazy, though. MP, you maybe could. I mean, I don't fly that hard with it, but I've not broken an arm. I know people do break arms on them, but they it seems pretty durable to me. I have bando bashed it a couple times. I'll tell you what I bando bashed the shit out of is that Skyliner, though. That Skyliner's got like fraying carbon and stuff. I've dropped it from multiple signs. That like I've tried to dive through billboards and stuff, and just like I fell off multiple buildings with it. Like trying to dive through the gaps on the top of buildings and stuff. It's like a rock, man. I don't think I could break that Skyliner if I wanted to. I could probably full speed that Skyliner to the side of a building, and I do not think an arm would break. That I fully believe that. I'm telling you that right now. Like if I go back to Bando bashing, it'll be that. Uh, what does a Session 5 weigh? 74 grams. So yeah, you can get sort of close. Like I get where you're going. That 56 grams plus a case is like still like a session, but I would love to see like what case people are going to put on that to actually protect it that well. I don't know. I'm interested. I feel like they're just going to break left and right, but DCS Titan, interesting. Zitronin EIS. Yes, I do think the EP2 is viable for normal freestyle. If you're like a long rangey freestyle guy, like if you can't get quite to the bando or whatever, if you're doing like a distance thing, then you should probably use an EP1. But I have found that the EP2 gives me plenty of LQ everywhere I fly. So also, to be fair, it's $13. So worst case, you have to buy an EP1 instead, and you spend $13. You still spent less than buying a Crossfire Nano with an Immortal T for 2 receivers. But I do think an EP2 is viable. Northeast FPV says also welcome. After flying with the GoPro 7 for so long, then fitting the DJI cam, gonna be like warp speed. Yeah, for sure, man. GoPro 7's a little bit back there. And a little heavy. Yeah, Flyborg, when I'm talking about breaking it, like I flew, that was all that I flew the Skyliner was concrete. But yeah, I don't know. I just haven't been able to break it yet. I beat the shit out of it. I really thought like multiple of those drops from like, 20 stories up would have broken it. Like I was fully expecting to go walk over to it and find the arm off. But yeah, I don't know. It's just super impressive. But again, I don't know. I haven't been bashed a lot lately, and I'm not been bashed on the Source One. Now it's more park flying for me. I mean, I broke a glide arm in a park. So if you're talking about, I don't know. Like, I've definitely not wouldn't recommend something like that. That was also the earlier glide, the first glide, or maybe the second glide. Andy Taylor's gonna rip that new Emacs stack. I don't even know what that is. Is that the thing you asked me about earlier? That flight controller? Yeah, Emacs Magnum. Okay. Oh, that's an old ass. Okay, that's not it. Emacs Magnum. No, that looks old too. Not sure which one we're talking about. Meat. My NASCO's been pretty tough. I had it about a year and I smashed it into concrete, signs, basically everything. The only thing I managed to break was the top plate. That's an interesting only thing to break is a top plate. And he said, what happened to the glide hammer? Yeah, I don't know. I think he kind of went in a different direction. Big Fuzzy, no. Let's see. Meek FPV is running the moon goat pretty well. We're beating the crap out of it, and it's holding up pretty well. That's interesting. It seems like a pretty durable frame. Papa Gamer, going for my first build soon. You think 3.5" is okay for a first build? Yes, it's just harder. Anything smaller is going to be harder. Especially if it's not open like a toothpick. So I would typically recommend most people build a 5" for their first build. But that being said, Ciati gave me a 3" build. I ended up building a micro alien based on Ciati's recommendation. And it was extremely hard, and I almost quit like 5 times because everything was so small, and didn't know what a TX or RX was, and how VTXs worked. I'd never seen FPV. I just like ordered all the stuff. I don't know. You're in the right place, I'll tell you that. I mean, I had Ciati, and then eventually Bardwell's group to help me out. And then Ciati's Discord really helped me out quite a bit. So you have people, and I'll tell you, having people definitely makes it a lot easier. Small builds are a lot harder. That's all. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's a blast, but all the pads are smaller, all the attachments are smaller, the parts are more finicky. So yeah, just be aware of that going into it. My recommendation would be if you don't have any affinity to anything, and you have a place to fly a 5", like if you have somewhere where you can fly that, then I would do 5". If you don't have anywhere you can fly it and you can only fly like right around your house or like in small areas and stuff, then I would probably go 3" or 3.5". But if you can, I would do 5. It's just going to be so much easier. The pads are nice. I mean, it was like I remember getting all the parts for my first 5" and opening all the stuff, and I'm like, this is like Duplos or whatever. It's like Legos versus Duplos. You get the Duplos and you're like, oh, these are giant, and they just stick together, and there's no challenge. It's the same thing. It was like, these pads are huge. Look at all this room for activities. It was crazy. So just be aware of that. Just be ready for frustration. That's all. MP, I'm on an XL5. Interesting. I want a squashed X with 5 or 6mm arms. I don't have anything in particular, to be honest with you. But also, like, I've never felt a difference between a true X, a squashed X, and a dead cat. So I don't know. That Skyliner is not a cheap frame. I'm not saying everyone should hop out and spend $90 on a frame. It's also heavy as shit, but I'm just telling you, my subjective, I guess objective, because it's what happened, but also subjective experience of the Skyliner. Yeah, the AOS 5 or the AOS 5.5, 5.5 seems super solid. I know he tested the shit out of those. I would still order extra arms, but that's also the thing. Is just anything you order extra arms. But I'll tell you, I have an extra Skyliner arm I've never used. Force One HD is the Squash X. Interesting. Apex. A lot of people are going to say Apex. Yeah. Apex is the classic. Super expensive, but seems to be a great frame. I've still never bought an Apex. Yeah, the AOSs I think are cut at CNC Madness. Isn't that in the UK or something? Am I crazy? Probably in the US, and I'm just being an idiot. Yeah, they're in the US. Okay. I think they have a. I thought they had a UK or like a EU location or place. Dave Pencilglen says it is in stock in a UK store. The AOS 5. Interesting. You folks and your import taxes. Doc says just buy 2 frames. That's not a bad idea. Depends on the cost of the frame, but I'm not against that. Reaper offline says, "Do you know Stitch from a movie?" Boy, that sounds like a bot. Hello, I don't know who's Stitch from a movie. Like Lilo and Stitch, or was there like a Stitch movie? There probably is a Stitch movie. That's how they do everything, right? Stitch the movie. Of course, there's a movie. Blast 3D finally got his DJI cameras, and boy, it's 120 FPS. So nice. Yes, it is. Low latency. Oh, so nice. Feels like you're so much more connected to the quad. How much does it cost you to get, like, if you were to get 3 CL1 VS's import, like, how much are you talking about paying per frame? Is there somebody that in the I don't know. I feel like there's gotta be a better way. Maybe you can, well, I guess it's probably not that much cheaper to get bunch of them imported, but if they get a bunch of people who want them, I don't know that that would help. Loco, greetings from the delivery room. That is could mean a lot of things. Are you having a baby, or do you work in a mail room? Dave Pencil Glenn says, move to the NA. 20% value shift is rough. I mean, Loco's having his third baby boy. Jeez Louise. Good. I mean, congratulations. I hope it was, I hope he wanted it. Isaac just chopped his last Vista antenna. What do I recommend for replacing it? Probably like a True RC. Or a Vaz or something like that. But yeah, probably just like a True RC whip. Something to that effect. I think they make a nice little LHCP whip. Amelia says he's gonna have his third drone baby boy real soon. Got a lot of drone babies. No real babies. The Rush is good too. I like True RC a lot though. True RC, you can basically trust that every single thing that's put out of there is really good quality. Same with Vaz. Like Vaz is going to be the same. Like Vaz will never ship a shitty antenna. Sonic Tonic wants to be adopted by an American. Loco's boy's name is Ezekiel. Again, congratulations, Ben. Good to hear that. Family Guyver is here. Last Pound says it's dab time. All the time's dab time. EDOC's going to order a bunch of stuff to the US for Whooptopia to avoid import fees. Yeah, not a bad idea. Market Zero, if you have the Newbie Drone Hummingbird Pro, you probably have the old version of the frame. That new Cockroach seems to be the one that everyone tells me is the most durable. They redid the Cockroach frame and redid like the width and the plastic and stuff. And from what I've heard, that thing is way more durable. I broke a lot of the V1 Cockroaches, but the new Cockroach I've heard great things about. So that's probably what I would lean towards. Meteor 65 is supposed to be good, but I don't know that I would trust those little spars. The way it's built, those little spars that it has, like I'm sure they'll hold up, but I've not flown one enough to know that it won't just break apart. Big Fuzzy, yes, and they're proud of me. And I thought I told you you couldn't ask a question. So, I don't know, man. What are we going to do with you? Isaac Mitchell just got new suits for his squirts. Congratulations. Cockroach V2s are bricks. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at what the actual weight difference is there, but they seem pretty solid. Might be worth it. Family Guyver. What frame do you recommend as a digital 3-inch? I guess it depends on what you're doing with it. I mean, really, a naked Vista pick is probably like what I would go with. Taylor says, "Is Joe Mama here?" I'm not sure if that's actually meant to be a joke or if you're asking about the pilot Joe Mama. Aerospace Inc. 53 says, "I just got the Flywoo Cinerace 20 today. Excited to see how that goes." That seems like a pretty solid little quad. Oh, we got a super chat from Flyborg FPV. What kind of tech advancements are you looking forward to from our hobby in the next year or so? Open source digital, or at least partially open source digital, and future pushing a digital video. More advances in radio link. Hope possibly a new chip for radio links. It's very possible a new chip for radio links. 5G availability of chipsets. Mainly link stuff, mainly like radio and video link stuff. I think are going to really change a lot in the next year. I mean, I don't think you have to be a real Nostradamus to know that, but yeah, that's where my head is going. I think flight controllers are pretty set. Like a PID loop's a PID loop, right? So like you're doing fancy stuff around the PID loop, like D-min and iTerm relax and all that jazz, and then you're filtering the gyro signal. But I mean, it's the same gyros everybody's been using forever. It's just better versions of filtering for it and smarter filtering strategies and RC stick smoothing and input stuff, which I think is all like probably more minor than I would care to like say is exciting to me. Like looking forward, I really think it's going to be video. Hopefully Orca will have something. We got a year, so hopefully Orca will definitely have something. And they claim to be open source. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at anyway. Neek says, "I just got my part 107. Talks about DJI ban. I'm hesitant on investing in DJI gear. I don't know. It's really impossible to know what the FCC is going to do, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a backwards ban. So, like, if they end up banning FCC approval, it'll be for new DJI devices. That would be my guess. I do not think for like a random person, you'll be restricted from using DJI for any reason. It'll just be future things will not be licensed under FCC. So I'd say you're probably safe to do that. Papa Gamer, take it easy. Thanks for stopping by. Ram Dunker says, "My comment was gray with a red marker. Did I accidentally do something that I didn't think I did?" I have to approve like 5% of the comments on here because they block a lot of stuff. So I didn't even see the chance to approve that one. So yes, probably. It thinks you said something bad or did something bad. Nathan can't sleep. Well, sorry to hear that, but thanks for hanging out while we chat. Doc finds the Meteor 65 to be a good balance of lightweight and durability. Interesting. MB is excited for the 1-watt SharkBite VTX. That will be definitely exciting. Joseph says, or Joe says, "Is the Ant versus the BI cam on the BL V3 worth doing? And why the freak is there a 0.8 connector?" I don't know about the camera option swap, but Newbie Drone loves to have things that aren't like anybody else's, so that sounds like Newbie Drone to me. I think because they like to be proprietary. Pacific Northwest says, "What is your tuning process, or do you fly stock Betaflight?" No, I typically fly like UAV Tech preset, which is like the same, basically the same tuning we were doing before UAV Tech presets were up there, which is drag filter sliders part way to the right, or all the way if you've got a clean enough tune, and then change a couple settings and drag your PD balance. Yeah, I mean, and then change your RPM notches and stuff. So yeah, I just basically fly that, and then if anything's real fucked up, then I change it. But most stuff flies fine on stock. I'm not big on digging the filters out and trying to get them right down to the edge and manually picking cutoffs and stuff. I don't care that much. If I flew like 5 packs a day, I would care. I don't. Meet's excited about open source digital too. That's awesome. It definitely is exciting. Gonna ride the analog train until it's a reality. That makes sense. That's fair. EDOC says you can just direct solder instead of going through that 0.8 GST, which is JST, which is probably the good decision. Patio Patterson's here. How's it going? Good to see you. CMYK, FPV shows up. How's it going, man? Papa Doc. Meat says, don't really have much hope for physical hardware open sourcing in the hobby. Yes, that's very true. Even the OpenHD solution, which they're taking Patreon money for, will not actually be open. It'll be partially open, but there's like a blob in the programming that talks to like a proprietary chip. And that's what like enables the low latency. I think a better analog, excuse my pun, MP is rich wave. So they talk a lot. This is something that Carl talks a lot about is rich wave. Every analog thing you have, so every analog VTX or device you have, is running a rich wave chipset. And that means somebody paid rich wave for that chipset to use it. So Carl wants to do the same with SharkBite with HD0, and that's part of their plan. Is like, okay, I want to be rich wave, but for digital. So if you want digital video, instead of like analog video, buy rich wave chips and build a board. Said, let's buy my chips and build a board for digital video. So that's his plan. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the next ICs look like because he's developing new ICs for the new things he's learned and the new tech that can possibly be put in there. So I don't know. It'll be exciting to see. CMYK, no, I do not have a ham radio setup or a ham license. Andy Taylor, no, I have not tried TruckBite. I don't have HDMI goggles, so it's way too much money for me to invest in at this point. Way too much. If I had HDMI goggles, then I might have bought the $100 module. But I also don't make very much money from FPV, so it's typically not worth it for me to buy goggles just to try stuff. So like I just buy what I buy for my own flying, you know. Yeah, $199 plus a $99 or more module now is like way too much. I already have DJI. There's no way I would spend that much on another digital system. It's not happening. Maybe one day, though. Yeah, it's still quite early. Definitely early. So it'll be interesting to see like where it ends up. I'm just hoping that some companies will hop on and actually build VTXs and stuff because it doesn't look like that's happened yet. I think it needs to get farther along. Maybe the next set of ICs or something is when it'll happen. I have the V1 goggles. Yeah, Orca Digital sounds like it's a ways out, but hopefully they'll be doing something with that soon. CMYK, go on Facebook or on the Velocidrone Discord and ask. They definitely support Mac. Ashley the developer bought a Mac just to troubleshoot, so I would go talk to the developers. No, it doesn't make a difference really, unless you have a FPV drone, Andy Taylor. Yeah, Pacific Northwest takes time. ELRS was around for over a year before the Happy Model released the EP series. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that because they just heard Express LRS when everybody started talking about it. But like, yeah, that was DIY for at least a year. I think well over that, like you said. Yeah, I have no idea what good Zaza is. Canvas mode, yeah, we could hope. I don't know that that's happening, but we can hope. Yeah, MP, that was when I got around. I got in, but I got a DIY RX, so that tided me over. Scott, is that Scott Rick Roscoe Gillen? How's it going, Scott? What's up, bro? Great content. Thanks for stopping by. Danny R says, "Can you mix nutrients, organic, dry feed, and synthetic?" Probably, but nutrients organic is some fucking. I don't know. Those bottles used to be weird and shit. So yes, you probably can. Like all you care about is NPKs. So dry should be very similar to synthetic as long as you're doing a mix. Um, I mean, literally dry is just before it's mixed in, but. So yes, you should be able to mix them, but what you need to pay attention to is stuff like I hope you know about mixing nutrients. Let me say that. because like you want to make sure you're mixing like silica in first and the silica settling, and then you're not precipitating out phosphorus and stuff with your pH changes. Those sorts of things, right? Nutrients Organic should have some guideline for that, I would guess. And if not, I bet they have a phone number you can call. All those companies, at least maybe because I ran a grow for a long time, but like I could just call any of those people, they would just talk to me. I never was like, I run a 25,000 square foot grow, tell me this. I would just call and ask a question, they would tell me. So it might be worth a shot just to try that. Yeah, there's no canvas mode, Neek, just to be clear. So you're not missing canvas mode because it doesn't exist. Amelia says, dang it, should I go Gep RC or Micro Apex 4-inch with 2004 2550? Gep RC will be around 250 G4S 750. 2550 might be a bad match for 3.5. I mean, you can always put a limit on it. But between those two, I'd probably go with the Apex 4. Personally. Yeah, Meek, they definitely tend to be helpful and want you to use their products. They're like big about that, for sure. If you call and you're like, but okay, also, I've had the opposite experience. Like, I've opened a bottle and the bottle had like a bunch of garbage. Like, it was basically floating chunks in a bottle. And I called the company and I clearly woke this guy up. It was New Millennium. If you know about what New Millennium is, then you know like why the story is what the story is. But basically, New Millennium, I opened a bottle and there was just horrible chunks on top of the stuff. It clearly like precipitated, and I couldn't tell if it was like wrongly mixed, or if it was like haste mixed, or if it was like shipped weirdly and it had gotten too hot. It wasn't clear with me, so I called. It was very clear. I woke the guy up at like two in the afternoon, and he was like, "What? Like it was rough." And I asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, totally normal." And I'm like, "Okay, but I know you know you're quick with that answer, so I just want to be clear." Like he's like, "Yeah, it happens all the time. Totally normal. Just use it." I'm like, okay, so I mix the chunks back in, or like he's like, "No, they're fine. Just scoop them out." I'm like, okay, you don't know shit. Thank you for having this conversation. I appreciate this. But yeah, so it depends on who you call. New Millennium. That was my experience with New Millennium. New Millennium is very like bro science kind of stuff. New Millennium was also like hit really hard, especially in Colorado. Hit really hard, and then was sold really hard by a guy who helped a consultant here, and it ended up being very profitable for New Millennium. That's for sure. Playground hopped on that train too. There was like a whole troop of people who were using Playground Cocoa for like $18 a bag, and then New Millennium Nutrient Line, and then Green Sensation from Playground, which is an insane amount of money. Yeah. Good times in the cannabis industry. Yeah, most of that industry is predatory. Most people are selling you salt in a bottle. So, or some other thing in a bottle, but typically it's some basic ass shit in a bottle, and then how much markup can I give you? I had the Green Sensation reverse engineered though. That Green Sensation is so expensive. It was like $1,200 for
3.5 gallons or something. It wasn't even 5 gallons. It was some crazy amount. I think it's come down since then, but like it was crazy town. And it was like 4 mils a gallon they wanted you to use, and you're feeding like 25,000 square feet. It was like a third of the price of the nutrient regimen was this green sensation that they wanted you to run. A large part of Colorado that I worked with that was running cocoa perlite was running. Like all those growers who were buying from chlorophyll in Colorado. But yeah, I got it reverse engineered. There's a place called Bromley Agriculture here. And you just take shit to them, and then they tell you what's in it, and then they make it, and then they give it back to you, and they're like, "Is it working?" And I'm like, "Yep, it works great." So that's what I did. I think I paid about $300 for a 2.5 gallon of the stuff from Bromley, and I was paying $1,250. 1,200. It was some ridiculous amount, and that was with our discount. It's like a giant, like minus $400 on the receipt. Yeah, if you ever want to if you don't want to pay what you're paying for a nutrient, and there's nothing like obviously bullshit in it, there's not like a so you don't have like a plant growth regulator in there you don't know about. What was that product that was doing that for a long time? It was called a Hammer or something. I think it was the Hammer. I don't know. One of them had a plant stunting agent in it, and they got in trouble because they weren't labeling it. And so you were buying, I think it was triacontanol. Can't remember what was in it. Paclo. Yeah, it was Paclo. Yeah, that's exactly right. It was Paclo. Good times. Jackalope FPV gives $10. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for all you do for the community, and thank you for helping me numerous times. You're the man. I much appreciate it, man. Much appreciate it. What's the frame kitty corner to the window? That's I think there's a couple of frames that could be kitty corner to the window. If you mean this, is it? Oh, hold on. I'm getting blocked. If you mean that one there, that's a broken glide that I need to buy a new arm for. And that one up there is the Power Pick. 5-inch Power Pick. That's a glide I was telling you I broke, the early version of the glide. I need to find arms for it, but now I don't know what arms will fit it. Because there's been 1 or 2 revisions of the glide since I bought that. One thing about buying frames that are like prototype or from somebody you can't be guaranteed about, there's a non-zero chance you just can't buy the arms again. Any glide arms fit now. Okay. That's good to know. I don't know if mine are the same thick. I'll have to check and see. I'll have to check and see. All right. It's time for a mini rant. Okay. Got to do it. In front of you, before you, you see the GemFan Floppy Proppy 5135. And from the name, we can discern that the 5135 is a 5.1 inch prop, okay, with a 3.5 inch pitch and 2 blades. And we might find that that's true here if we look. There's the 2 blades, and there's a 3.5 inch pitch. And they're not listing the size, but it's 5.1. And this is the case for most of GemFan's props. In fact, that's the case for all of them, except the 514 line. So today you might learn something, because it turns out 5.1 inches is correct, but 466 is not the pitch. The pitch of a 51466 is 3.6 inches. So, If you hear someone talking about 51466, it's actually a 5136 prop. And it's not as pitchy as you might think it is from the name. Turns out, this shit carries. Is it 2-2? 3-3? Whichever the other size they have. This carries over to these as well. Oh boy. How do I... There we go. 51433. 3.5 pitch. 51477. 3.7 pitch. So it's a freaking crapshoot out here because it doesn't even match. This is the problem, right? You can't, if a 51466 was 3.6 and a 51433 was 3.3, it would make fucking sense. But even that part doesn't make sense. Because a 51433 is 3.5. A 51466 is 3.6. A 51477 is 3.7. So what do you think a 51499 is? 4.2. What? What are we doing? What are we doing? The 51433 is 3.5. It's a mess out here. It's a freaking mess out here. Andy Cooper's here. How's it going, Andy? Good to see you. Oh, it's a pup alert. Thanks, CMYK. Much appreciated. Yeah, I think most people, or at least a large amount of people, think that a 51466 is like somewhere closer to a 4.6. I talked to GemFan about it. I did ask the GemFan rep, and the GemFan rep is like, listen, I know, is kind of what he said. He's like, listen, I know, but they're old, and we can't change the name. But there's new props that have the correct, that are different, that are named like, you know, the F4 and the F3 have similar pitch and size to these, but they're actually, you know, they're not named wrong. So, I don't know. E-Doc. Oh boy, is that for real? Hold on. Oh, Jesus Christ. R38 and R38C. Let's look them up. Bitch about props day. You are correct, sir. R38C. 4.9 by 4 by 3. R38. 5.1 by 3.8 by 3. Why do you call them R38? Come on, dude. Call them something else. Call these fucking R4. I don't understand. Ah, that is so frustrating. I'm going to send freaking Evan Turner a strongly worded message. I mean, I sort of agree that R38 makes sense, but also, like, it doesn't say... You have to know that R38 is a 5.1 inch prop. Like, because there's no indication of what prop size it is. Or how many blades it is. So it's still, in that way, it's still a brand. I don't know. It's really pissing me off. Wind Dancer 5043. Interesting. I haven't flown the 5-inch Wind Dancers. I've only flown 3-inch Wind Dancers. All right, well, fuck that. That's my thoughts. Fix your shit. Hashtag not a fan. Hey, it's 2Bob over on Twitch just saying hi. How's it going, 2Bob? Thanks for stopping in. Thanks, Andy Taylor. Hopefully I'm keeping it entertaining enough. Lots of folks are showing up, though. There's 43 people here. There were 50 earlier. It's a lot more than the game streams, that's for sure. Yeah, we hit 50 peak. Haven't seen that since the last time I did a Q&A stream. I think the best we did on Q&A or the game streams is like 31 or something. And that was kind of random. I'm glad people are enjoying it. I like the 3-inch wind dancers a lot, Flyborg. A lot. Yeah, I can understand that for sure. Meek FPV would like to buy another rant for $10. What am I gonna rant about? Let me check the list. Oh, I've got a great rant. But I don't... Okay, sure. You can have a rant. Sneaks donation. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's talk about the Drone Racing League. I am of the personal opinion that DRL does not give a shit who watches it. And I say that because if you, number one, if you're not watching this live, you get everything spoiled for you immediately. If you scroll down this thing, oh, thanks for the $5 from Isaac Mitchell. Rant, yes, rant indeed. If you scroll down this freaking thing, look at this. What a debut. Okay, so we've already known something's happened with Manny. We see Manny's tweet. You scroll down. You get Manny's tweet from something great happening. You get results from the fucking race that already happened. Flyborg, thanks for $4.99. Much appreciated. You get results from the epic ending with Captain Vanover winning. Like, I don't want to know this. I do not want to know this. And the problem is, first of all, this was not pinned last night. But two, the biggest issue is, why is there not a fucking page here? Right? If you go to watch, where is it? Hey, thanks so much for Ken. Where is it? How do I watch this year? If I wanted to watch 2021, where would I find that? Oh, right, it's not here. They don't give a shit about you watching it. They do not care. Are these clickable? No, it's going to go to NBC. So I can watch it on NBC. So the problem is that, like, if you give a shit about this show and you cannot watch it live, you do not get to watch it. So it streams on Twitter. For anybody who doesn't know, it streams on Twitter every week. But you have to come in here, and right as it starts, you have to watch it and click on their little thing. And so they've pinned the tweet. So you see 21 hours ago, they posted, hey, this is where it's happening. And then you can watch the show. and they live broadcast it. There's only two places to watch. One is on TV on NBC, or on their web app, or on Twitter. And the biggest problem I have with that, again, is that, like, if you want to find this, you have to come to the page with spoilers. It's really retarded. And, they do not stream it anywhere else. It's not on Twitch. It's not simulcasted anywhere. They don't post about it on any of their social medias except Twitter. They don't come up to the schedule and put anything on here that actually tells you anything about, other than here's the NBC website. It's just a joke. It's really a joke. And for a company we talk about who cares about FPV and who's like pushing forth the hobby and stuff, it really pisses me off. Because all that you would have to do is have a nice page, right? You just come to the schedule and have a nice page where there's a Twitter link here too. Oh, wouldn't that be cool? And look, what if I could like see all the past races? What if there's like a little list of all the schedules and then they're checking them off and I could see each one to click on? It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And to me, this is probably not deal-based, because this is still NBC and Twitter. So if you put a Twitter link here, I really don't think anybody would be mad. And also, like, maybe on the front page or the about or somewhere, you explain the fucking race. Maybe you have a link to Twitter somewhere to watch it. But again, like, I'm ranting here, but they don't give a shit about this. They care about the NBC show and the ratings from the NBC show and the sponsors they get from the NBC show. That's my opinion. That's what it seems like. Isaac Mitchell, patron for life. Thank you so much. Andy Taylor says, I bought the Xbox DRL game. Do you have to use an Xbox controller? I think you can plug in a radio on Xbox. I know you can on PlayStation, but I'm like 95% sure you can on Xbox now as well. I wish I knew someone who, yeah, hold on. I'll just look it up. I'm like 95% sure you can. So let's just fix this real quick. Yep, works fine. DRL Sim, sports menu. Okay, hold on. They've got a whole section about it. We did this on the news one time. Let's find the page. There's like a FAQ for just Xbox. What the fuck is it? There's a page that talks about it, and it tells you which ones have it and which ones don't. So even if it doesn't have it, it should be listed there. But hell if I remember where the FAQ was. Was it here? No, that just goes to the page. There it is. Controller facts. Okay. Let's just make sure. Why are these all PC? They used to have they changed this for sure. They used to have like a page. So this is the PS4. Okay, so this is telling you can use, yes. This is a fucking mess. Oh, this is the other way. This is controllers you can use with the PC. Was it DCL that had the FAQ? DCL box and their website. Not like they make this hard, right? It might be what eDoc is saying there. The DCL supports it, but not DRL. But I know it can do it. It's just up to the developer. It's my understanding. Like, there's no reason you should have to use a dongle. It's just they've chosen to make you use a dongle. I mean, I swear it worked, but I don't know. I cannot find the shit, so I'm not going to keep looking. All right. Well, we're like right at the 2-hour mark here. So I think this is probably the time to call it. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Much love in the chat for the super chats and donations and everything. Definitely welcome back to Q&A streaming. I think we're going to go for... I think we're going to shoot for every Thursday at this time. And then we'll go from there. What else I do? So... yeah, we'll shoot for that. We'll see how it goes. Brain, thanks for hanging out. Always happy. Compost Pile. Bastion, thanks guys. Much appreciated. I appreciate everyone hanging out. And have a wonderful day.